All right, so we're going to talk about fractions. All right, the first thing we're going to talk about our fraction is we have a numerator over the denominator. All right? The way that I remember this is the D for down, denominator, numerator's up top. All right? So basically what we have is, when we think about our fractions, the way that I remember this is I think this is the number of pieces to make a whole. And this is the number of pieces we have. Is everybody with me on that? All right? So, real simple. If I think of a dollar, right? It takes 4 quarters to make a dollar. If you have 75 cents, you get your 3 quarters. We have 3, right? So we've got 3 are the pieces that we have, but in order to get a whole dollar, we need 4 pieces in terms of quarters. Is everybody with me on that, right? Good to go? Okay, so from this, we're going to talk about the different ways to write it. So we have our fractions where our numerator's up top and we have our denominator. So we got our numerator over our denominator. Now sometimes we're going to have extra pieces. For instance, in this case, if we make 2 pies, and I tell you that you have a full pie and an extra pie, an extra piece, right? So we know to get a full pie, how many do we need? 4, right? 4 slices. So we've got 4 slices, right? But it turns out that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slices left on the table. Is everybody with me? Because AJ ate these 3, so they're all gone, right? So here we go. We have 5 out of 4, right? Now what does that mean? Now this, if we write it this way, where our numerator is bigger than our denominator, we have what's called an improper fraction. All right? There's nothing wrong with these. It's just a way to show it. And sometimes we're going to use the improper fraction, sometimes we're not. Later on when we talk about slope, we're going to keep it in terms of an improper fraction. All right? That's the way you talk. However, in other cases, we're going to make it look mixed. The other way to do this is to say I have 1 and 1 out of 4. Does everybody see that? So from this I would say I have 1 and 1/4. Is everybody with me? All right? So these two are actually equal to each other. It's just a different way to say them or express them, write them, however you want to convey this idea. And the reason for that is you wouldn't say, you know, you wouldn't go up to somebody and say, hey, I need 22 and, 22/7 feet of something. You know, you're not going to say that. You know, you're like, oh, I need, 3 feet and 1/7 of it, right, of material or something like that. Okay? So now the way that we work this out, I'm going to show you in order to get from here to here, and then we'll talk about going the other way. So the way this works is, the quick way, if I have the 1 and 1/4, I'm going to take the bottom and I'm going to multiply it by our number up front, right, our denominator. So we go 4 times 1, which is 4, and then we're going to add it to our numerator, right? So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So here's the 5 fours. Is everybody with me on that? Okay? Now, the reason for that is what we're really doing is we're saying this is 1. This is 1/4. Well, out of 1, we have 1. We know that 1 is really 4 out of 4, right? This is 1 out of 4. So together, this is going to be 5 out of 4. That's where that comes from. If I have 2 and 1/4, this is 1 plus 1 plus 1/4, right? Which is 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4 plus 1/4. Is everybody with me? 4, 4, 1, 9 over 4. So if I go the quick route of this, I know that 4 times 2, 8. 8 plus my 1 up top, 9. 9/4. That's the way this works. Everybody with me? Okay. All right, so if we think of 5/4, what we're saying is 5 divided by 4. Everybody with me on that? We know that 4 goes into 5 one time. We subtract. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract the 4. We have our 1 for our remainder, right? So we know that this 1 comes out front. This 1 is my numerator, and the 4 here becomes my denominator. Is everybody with me on that? Does anybody have any questions? Comments, concerns, oh my. Okay, so we know that we have our regular fractions where we have our numerator over denominator. Numerator is going to be larger, right? We have our improper where our numerator is going to be larger than the denominator, and then we have our mixed fractions that are expressed this way, right? We have a number up front, which is our whole, how many wholes we have, plus the fraction that goes associated with it. Everybody good with that? All right. Intro to fractions.